What's going on, guys? This is Barker, back with another video, back like I never left, talking about the NBA as usual, and I'm going to be talking about kind of like where the players that are on the leave should go, whether that be a buyout or a trade. So, kind of the three main guys right now that we know are going to be traded, because obviously Blake Griffin was bought out and then signed a deal, or, three people that are either going to get traded, bought out, etc. Something's going to happen to them. Because it's been said on Twitter with like Shams or Woj. It's been said. So PJ Tucker, Andre Drummond, Lamarcus Aldridge are kind of the three main guys that we know for a fact are going to be gone. So with Andre Drummond, there's not many teams that can trade for his massive contract and would be willing to trade for his massive contract, because if you think about it, a team that's going to trade for him is going to be a team that's in the playoffs and wants to win. So they need to have a decently big contract to afford Andre Drummond, and they got to hope that they can re-sign him next year to a, near money-wise that deal, if not less. Most likely less. And there's a couple teams that come to mind trade-wise. Boston Celtics are one of them. It would be a little hard, but, including like Jeff Teague, Tristan Thompson, first-round picks, possibly. Well, not picks. I don't think it would take multiple picks to trade for Drummond. But maybe one first-round pick and like Tristan Thompson, Jeff Teague. Their new additions that they paid a lot of money and they haven't worked out for the Celtics, I think would be a good trade. And then there's also the Mavericks, who I think would be a good trade destination. They have Tim Hardaway Jr. making like $20 million a year. They could throw him in and maybe like a young piece, and I think the Cavaliers would immediately say yes, because they just want to get rid of Drummond right now, and they would prefer to trade him over buying him out. So they don't need some huge package. I don't see a team not in the playoffs trading for him. I think that would just be dumb for them to do, because he's not a lead your team to the playoffs type guy. He's a guy who will get you rebounds. He will play defense and kind of be the glue guy for the other players. Like, Draymond Green won't get you to the finals, but he can push you over the edge, and that's what Andre Drummond can also do. But for buyout locations, it's been said that the Lakers and the Nets are the most likely signing destinations, and I think those are perfect. Obviously, the most perfect is the Nets. If he goes to the Nets, like I've said in past videos, it is over. They are too stacked if they get Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin and all their all-stars on one team. Literally, their top three players for the Nets are all MVP candidates. That's absurd. Absolutely absurd. That three of their players are MVP candidates. Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant are all in the discussion. So that's what I think for Andre Drummond. PJ Tucker-wise, I don't think really anyone's going to want to trade for him. I really don't. He has played like absolute flaming dog shit this season. He has played terrible. I don't think anyone would be willing. I believe he's making like 15, 18 million this year. I don't think anyone wants to trade for that contract. No one that is in the playoffs right now wants to trade for that contract. So I don't see a trade happening. I easily see him getting bought out. And then from there, I see him being like a Lakers, a Nets, a Clippers, like the very top teams I can see him going to. Maybe a Bucks. Nah, actually, I don't see Bucks as much. But, kind of the teams. I can see 76ers, though. That would be a nice addition, because they're all defense. And even though PJ Tucker has looked inconsistent, he can still play good defense. So trade destinations, I don't even see one. I don't see him getting traded. He's 100% getting bought out. Or they're just going to keep him and say, oh, you're stuck here, PJ, but I doubt it. And the last person is Lamarcus Aldridge. They've agreed to part ways with the Spurs. It's been said on Twitter. Same thing with PJ Tucker and same thing with Andre Drummond. But Lamarcus Aldridge is a little interesting. He's making like the same amount of money as Andre Drummond. And he's not as good as Andre Drummond. But he's still a very solid player. And like I said, he's kind of like Andre Drummond in the sense of he can't lead your team, but he can push you over the edge. So I don't see many teams wanting to trade for him. He is an old man. 30 plus years old and declining. You don't want to trade for a big contract. and I believe it's the last year of his deal, so it wouldn't make much sense giving up so many assets to get him. I see him as also another guy who's definitely going to get bought out. I don't see him being traded. There's just no team that's willing to do it. He's too old, and he's declining too much for a team willing to give up assets to get him. So definitely see him as a buyout option. So then he's on a minimum contract. So then it becomes the whole thing of Nets, Lakers, Clippers, etc. Obviously, if the Nets don't get Drummond, they got to go for Lamarcus. And same thing for the Lakers. If the Lakers don't get Drummond, they better be going for Lamarcus, or at least PJ Tucker at the least. This trade deadline is coming out March 25th. Obviously, these players are going to be traded or bought out any day now. And the Nets are just going to keep getting better. I'm telling you, one of these players is going to go to the Nets. There's no doubt about it in my mind. I feel like any player that wants to win a championship, you want to go to the Nets right now. They are an all-star level team, and if I had to predict where each three would go instead of saying the locations, I could also see him going to Portland, Lamarcus Aldridge, because he used to play for Portland, and they need big guys. I could also see Drummond, because he would get a big role. I forgot about the Trailblazers. All three of those players could easily fit on the Trailblazers and get a lot of minutes. So I could also see them going there. And they're a solid team, obviously, with Damian Lillard. So, with Drummond, where I think he's going to go is I think he's going to get bought out, and I think he's going to the Nets. He used to play with Blake Griffin. They are best friends on the Pistons, and obviously his job will be so easy. So easy. All he'll have to do is play somewhat good defense and get rebounds, and he'll win a championship on the Nets. Why would he not do that? Lamarcus Aldridge, I don't see him going to the Nets, because if they have Blake Griffin and they have Drummond, I don't see him joining that team just to win a ring. He doesn't seem like that kind of guy. But I do see him joining a team like, See, it's hard. It's hard. Because, I want to say Lakers, but I don't know. I don't know if he really fits that team also. Honestly, if I had to pick, I think the best fit for him is the Clippers. I do. I think they're more slow pace, not run and gun type style like the Lakers. Lamarcus Aldridge is an old style guy. He's kind of like a Tim Duncan, but obviously not as good. I don't see him, constantly wanting to play that run and gun, shoot a lot of three style that a lot of the current teams are doing right now. The Clippers, however, they shoot a lot of mid-range shots. They go at the paint a lot. They're not just all based on three-point shooting. And I feel like he would like that team a lot. A lot of the guys on that team are old. He probably has played with a lot of them. I feel like that's a good fit. And plus, Lamarcus Aldridge, his initials are LA. So just keep him in Los Angeles on the Clippers. And then we got PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker is obviously the most interesting player out of this, but also the least important. I would put him on the 76ers as the best fit. See him being a small ball power forward or a small forward, just there to play defense and shoot open corner threes. I don't see him being any more than that, but he would be a great fit on the 76ers, who are just locking down on defense this year. So let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with my opinions? Do you think, all three of them are going to get bought out? I do. Who else do you think is on the trade block and is going to get traded any day? And where do you think they're going to go? Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Any support is appreciated. I've been doing this for less than a year. I make videos all the time. Subscribe if you enjoy them. Peace.